Here we go. Fucking walk like a peasant. Get out of here. So yeah, he starts breaking and entering. He breaks into his neighbor's house. And yes, I know, I've done this challenge 4 fucking times. It's so goddamn boring. So he breaks into a neighbor's house and he steals 2 .22 caliber guns. One is a pistol, like a Ruger. Fuck is it called? And the other one's just like a little .22 rifle. So we're gonna skip ahead to December 1st. Priscilla Gustafson was 3 months pregnant, and she was home on the early afternoon of December 1st when Danny LaPlante decided to break in and wait for them. Oh my god, I'm going the wrong way. He waited until he heard Priscilla and her 5-year-old son, Daniel. Or not Daniel. Fuck, I'm sorry. There's so many names. Abigail and William are the children's names. William was 5. But basically, Priscilla, school teacher, 3 months pregnant, gets home to find Danny LaPlante in her fucking house. We don't really know the full extent of what happens because usually with situations like this, you gotta really weigh heavily and depend heavily on the physical evidence, but also, you know, what the killer tells you. And so he probably locked Daniel probably locked William in a room or something, but he took Priscilla into her bedroom, got ties and nylon cords, and tied her face down on the bed where he sexually assaulted her. Pretty viciously. And then he put a pillow over the top of her head and shot her twice. And then this is when stuff gets rough. He takes 5-year-old William to the back bathroom, fills the tub up with water, and then manually holds him face down under the water until he's dead. And then he drains the tub. And then he walks back downstairs in a very telling move that I think proves that this is way more premeditated than the cops gave him credit for it at first. He waits. He opens a beer, doesn't drink it, and he waits. And what he's waiting for is 7-year-old Abigail to get home from school. And it would be discovered quite a while later that he had broken into their house like the month before. He knew their schedule. That's the only way he would have waited for that little girl to get home. Because if you're going to kill anybody who's like, I get it in the disgusting way, you got to kill all witnesses. That's what most of these guys do. You know, you do one thing bad, fuck, I'm going to get caught. I got to kill everybody. But he waited. She wasn't even home. He could have left and she could have lived. But he didn't. So he waited a whole hour until Abigail got home from school. And Abigail was the one that had, like, marks on her. Because she fucking fought. You know, she wasn't William. William was 5 years old. What the fuck is a 5-year-old going to do against a 17-year-old? Nothing. Nothing. Fucking pussy. I'm sorry. This shit makes me mad. But he waits for this little girl to get home. Fucking bum rushes her at the goddamn door. Takes her upstairs to the second bathroom. Chokes her and then puts her face down in the tub. And holds her under until she's dead. And then he drains the tub. Then he walks out of the house, rips off a nameplate off the front of the house that said the Gustafsons, and just walks back through the woods to his house, acting like nothing fucking happened. And the poor husband. Fuck. The poor fucking husband. Like, okay. Andrew Gustafson was one of two practicing lawyers in this whole town. That's how fucking tiny this shit is. But, he's just landed a big deal, you know, and he's super excited about it, so he calls home. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon. She's not picking up. He's like, all right, well, that's weird. Calls again, because he's like, man, I want to take my wife out. I want to fucking go out on the town. I just landed a big deal. I'm calling my wife. I want to make plans. Let's celebrate. Calls again. No answer. And then Andrew Gustafson said, I felt like something was wrong. And he drove home, walked into the house, yelled for his wife and kids. He's like, hey, you guys here? Before going upstairs, he calls their neighbor, and he's like, have you seen Priscilla at all? Have you seen Priscilla and the kids? They're like, no, I haven't. You know, I've seen, you know, Abby came home from school, but that's about it. And he's like, all right, well, that's weird. And he says he had a sinking feeling, and he walks upstairs to find his wife nude, face down, with a pillow over her head and 2 bullets in the back of it. And that's also how smart that fucking kid was. He knew to put a pillow over her head because it's a residential area. You know, there's houses that are nearby. He knew to put a pillow in between her head and the barrel of the gun to muffle it. And, you know, he called the police, and he ran out of the house, and people gave him shit for not going through the rest of the house to check to find his kids. And he pretty much said, I wouldn't be able to handle what I knew I was going to find. And as a parent, I get that. Like, who would want that in your fucking head? You know, you gotta think about your wife. She's forever frozen in your mind like that. You don't want to look at your kid and think that shit. Like, that's just not. So, cops show up, and they go upstairs. They find his wife, very obviously deceased. And they go upstairs, first bathroom. They find one of the kids dead. Second bathroom, they find the other child dead. And they're starting to notice some similarities between this breaking and entering and robbery murder and the ones that had been happening in Townsend, the next town over. Because he left a few calling cards, like they do. He left the beer open. And this kid had also left soda open, poured glasses of wine. It was like a weird thing. It was almost like he was letting you know he was getting comfortable at your house. Because that's what you do when you're comfy, right? Look at this. White wine. What up? You know, when you go in your house, you want to have a glass of wine, you want to fucking smoke a bowl, whatever. You want to relax. But imagine coming home and finding, like, a bottle of wine and a glass filled with that wine, and you're like, that wasn't me. Yeah. He waited for the daughter. Why didn't he wait for the husband? Because killers like that the power and control thing, showing that I have power over somebody. If they know they're not exactly gonna, if they don't have like 100% shot at being able to take this person down, they're not gonna do it. That's why they wait to see when the men aren't home, or because he can easily kill a pregnant woman who's probably begging for the life of her son. You know, he can easily manipulate her. He can easily kill 2 kids. But a grown man? You know what I mean? So he probably fucked off out of there before the dad got there because he didn't want to have to deal with that. So, yeah. Payback to any of the men that have caused trauma, yeah. And like, but no, yeah, he fucked off. And he went back through the woods, back to his house. And the cops were like, we have to question this fucking kid. So they questioned him. I believe they cornered him at school, and they questioned him. And, you know, he's like, oh, I don't know anything. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever. But then they're going through more and more stuff, and they're like, no, we really need to talk to this kid. So they go back. And as soon as he sees the cops pull up in his front driveway, he fucking jumps off the 2nd-story balcony and hauls ass into the woods. Fucking books it. Doesn't make you look great. So, cops are like, oh, he done fucked up. He knows what's up. What is this? Is that like a bone NATO? That sounds like a porn. Oh, God. All right, I don't want a bone NATO. So, yeah, he books it. Fucking hauls ass. And the officers search for him for 2 days. LaPlante, he breaks into another house and he steals a .32 caliber gun. and this is how Bone Shield for tanks. Thank you. And this is how hilariously ineffective and effective this kid was, because he takes this gun and he bangs on the front door of this house, and a teenager opens, and they see he sees a kid standing there with a gun, and the kid goes, nope, slams the door right in his face. So he's like, well, fuck. So he goes to the next house. Like, all of these killers, like, you ask why he didn't wait for the man. Like, there are some killers that got off on being able to dominate a strong man and a woman. Like, BTK was all about that. Fucking Golden State Killer was all about that shit. But they're very organized. They plan everything. So that way, the man that they know that is as strong or possibly stronger than them is going to be taken out of the equation. Because he always planned to make sure that the men weren't home. But if they were, he worked around it. But he was a very meticulous planner. Yeah. But this kid, he's 17. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. So he goes in the next house, and he holds a woman up. Basically is like, you know, you're gonna drive me where I want to go. So basically, he kidnaps this lady, forces her to drive him around in her van for, ungodly reason. Who the fuck knows? Kids are stupid. And she, being the bad bitch that she is, fucking got out. She jumped out, hauled ass, called the cops. And luckily, the cops... What? How? What do I do, my lovely? Yeah, so they... No! I'm talking! Don't kill me, please! Oh, God. No. Never mind. I have to do this. God damn it. Alright. Yeah. Oh, jeez. So, yeah. She gets out. She calls the cops. The cops are, they have an APB out for, asshole kid driving a car. Definitely a murder suspect. And he had been charged officially with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Jesus Christ. And, what What is happening here? What? Ew! Oh, I don't like it. Huh? Okay. So, they pull the car over. Danny runs out. He fucking hauls ass, and eventually they find him cornered in a lumberyard. And he is taken straight to jail. And luckily not given bail this time, because they learned from their first mistakes.